I met her when I was about 7 years old. She had come to the house. She had driven from California in her nice little 34 Ford coupe. I have a picture of it with she and my dad. So, in 1934, it wasn't just any woman who would drive a car from California to Alabama. It showed her kindness, her likability, and that's what I remember so much about her. But she was beautiful, drove a fancy car, she wore a mink coat, and all of our pictures shows her in a bright light.
Yes, I think she understood how scary it would be, and I think that's part of why she wanted to do it. She was an adventuresome young lady. In her earlier childhood, she was known as a daredevil. She played basketball, which was not all that common back in those days for a girl to play basketball. She even said that she wished she'd been born a boy so she could play football. So it was just an adventuresome spirit. She was a daredevil. She liked to take chances, and she liked to do fun stuff. And I think this was all just one big lark for her. I think she probably enjoyed every minute of it.
Oh, her courage and her ability to climb into an aircraft. In those days, you had to be either crazy or awful brave. That when she did that, she was following other women and men who had gone before and never seen again. I mean, they're still out there in the Atlantic, 75, 80 years later. So she had a lot of courage. You know what I say to her? I say, Ruthie, babe, jump on the back of this motorcycle with me, and we'll buzz out to the airport, and we'll take a flight in your old 1927 Travel Air. And she'd probably say, well, come along, boy, let's go.
She was fantastic. I guess that's the best word I can think of to describe her. I've already used the word adventuresome. And of course, she was very attractive. That goes without saying. She was very popular, and yet she was kind. You see pictures of her with children, and with the other flyers, she seems to fit in so well. And she was just a nice, likable person. And of course, she had a spirit that was just indomitable. She was just a very special lady.
Like a rainbow of love, flaming blue, within your plane up above, when you're sailing o'er the skies. The sun is eclipsed by the light in your eyes, flaming blue. You are a joy to behold, and you've set our brain all whirl. You're a sister to Lindy when up in the sky the American eagle taught you to fly, flaming blue. We're proud in telling the world that you are an American girl. Far in the heavens and sailing high, a tiny speck in the distant sky, with a heart obeying but one command, to hold the course to that distant land, with only an empty, endless space and nerves of steel for the trying race. Like a homing pigeon, her eyes are blind to the safety that she has left behind. The eyes of the world to the heavens turn, and the hearts of the world just wait and yearn, while in towns and cities...
She rode her horses very fast, and we think she drove her cars very fast. I think she was quite some girl, and I think she just liked to do things that were exciting, and the next thing, at the time was flight, and it was what everybody wanted to do. And of course she was in the position of having the money to be able to do it, so I think she was drawn to that, and I think flight then gave her a freedom that riding a horse and riding a car didn't. So it must have been amazing for her to discover that. I think because she was so like her father, I mean, just from little snippets that people said that knew them, and just when you see the things that she did, she had that extraordinary drive that he had that took him from being a clerk in an office to being this behemoth in industry. So she obviously shared that, but of course for women during that period, there weren't the opportunities, even for somebody of her class and money. But, it was so incredibly limited. I mean, had she been a boy, I have no doubt that, she would have followed him into P&O and been on the board and, like happened with all the kind of the male relatives.
I didn't know much about him. Nobody said anything to me about him. I think I said at boarding school on the 13th of March, my sister would come and tell me that it was the anniversary of his flight. And then coming home from school, I used to read stories in the bookcase. My mother was in pajamas for a long time after he didn't get back. Well, I think all of them were a bit brave who did those things, and I think they were positive that they could do it. Because of his trouble in one eye, I think he felt that they might not renew his pilot's license in the near future, and I think if he succeeded, he would have got that capital money, which I think was about £10,000 then, I'm not sure, which would have stood him in good stead to begin with if he'd lost his life. Over the years, I don't think that she thought he wouldn't do it. And I think she was relying a little bit on him doing it.
Well, she was very dynamic and pretty forceful, but in a nice way. I do remember a couple of times when she had arguments with my mother or other people in the family or people that worked at the hotel, or the Savoy Plaza place where she lived, but for the most part, she was nice in a kind of a regal way. I think it was just she and I. And we were going to go to the Madison Square Garden to see the Ringling Brothers Circus. And I'm still a little runt, you know. And I'm sitting in the passenger seat, and it's this big Cadillac convertible. And she's got this speaker thing. I don't know if it was under the hood or on the hood or something. And she saw somebody. I can't remember if the person was on the street or in a cab or exactly who it was she was honking at, but then she started talking on the loudspeaker for a little while, and of course the person turned, waved, this and that, and I don't remember if he or she responded with conversation or if it was just kind of a big surprise and Mabel was too far away, but you could certainly hear her, you know. Oh, she had all this money and everything else, but she really knew how to get the last dollar out of everything, pretty much. I could see that she must have had a pretty strong temper, because I saw her have a couple of arguments with servants and my mother that time and so on, and I could see that she didn't ever come to blows with in any of those arguments, but I mean, she was close, you know, on the edge. And I never, you know, she wasn't that big, but I never saw anybody really take her on because they were afraid of her.